Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today was basically what I can only describe as Caitlin Clark technical foul gate. Honestly, I don't even know the best way to explain what happened because the entire situation was confusing from start to finish. Nobody seemed to know what was going on. For a moment, I genuinely thought Caitlin Clark had been ejected from the game. That's how strange everything looked near the end. It was one of the weirdest moments we've seen all season. But with that being said, we're going to break it all down because Caitlin Clark was asked directly about the technical foul afterward. So let's listen to what she had to say when reporters asked what was the explanation for that technical foul near the end of the game, or just what happened for that tech near the end of the game, or just what happened. The technical, I didn't need an explanation. I deserved it, but it was worth it. The delay of game made no sense. It felt like Tyler wanted to assert himself into the game, and that was ridiculous. So that's just not a point in the game you needed to call that. I went and I got the ball, went off my foot off the scores table, and then he gave us a delay game, which is a team technical foul. So you can ask Tyler. I don't agree with that. That's the first time I've ever heard Caitlin call a referee out by name. And honestly, that tells you how frustrated she must have been because throughout this game, it really felt like Caitlin got the short end of the stick from the officials. I'm going to dive deeper into it later, but there were multiple moments that left fans scratching their heads. The biggest one was when Caitlin Clark took what looked like a clear foul, and somehow it was ruled a no call. On one play, Brittany Grayer appeared to lower her shoulder during a screen and make contact with Caitlin up high. Watching it back, it looked like the kind of play that usually gets attention from the officials. If a player lowers their shoulder and makes contact with someone's head, especially against a smaller player, people are naturally going to question the call. But then came the technical foul situation, and somehow that was even stranger. The delay of game technical ended up being one of the most confusing moments of the night. Caitlin tried to play the ball off the board to herself, completely missed it, and then had to chase it down before returning it. That's what led to all the discussion afterward. At the time, I honestly thought the technical was directly on Caitlin herself. The whole sequence was confusing, especially in a tight fourth quarter game. And when you finally hear why Caitlin's tech happened, it's honestly hilarious, absolutely hilarious. So, Caitlin shushing the other team's bench. She is shushing the other team's bench and then is shushing them and waves bye-bye after she wins. And that's the thing where it's like, this is a team that, let's be real, Caitlin was pissed. Caitlin was absolutely pissed. Like she picked up a defensive foul because Brittany Grayer elbowed her in the face. Like she's kind of holding her hands like this, and Grinder goes through her hands and clocks her in the face, and it's like, and it was given as a foul on Caitlin Clark. Like she was pissed off at the refs. She was pissed off at the other team. She was pissed off at Ryan Howard because of how they went at her. She was pissed off at Lyon. She was pissed off. Just pissed off, period. And that tech could come back to bite her in the ass. Like Caitlin Clark only has 3. Like if she picks up another, she's halfway to a suspension. The Fever have played 13 games out of 31 games, and she is halfway to a suspension. And for me, that's a little bit of a concern. That is absolutely a little bit of a concern. But at the end of the day, lucky or not, I think she'll be able to control herself. I think she will be able to control herself. That being said, it is one of those things now where Caitlin has to be on her best behavior. But I'm sorry, like, she got teed up for shushing the other team. And by the way, like they obviously said something to her because it was her and Sophie were celebrating together. Her and Sophie were celebrating together, and then suddenly something got her. Something made her just go shh. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is one of those things now where, it is what it is. They very much are now trying to get in Caitlin's head. And Caitlin is, again, We heard it on No Cab Space. And I mean this like Caitlin is the best Caitlin. When Caitlin is pissed off, this is the best version of Caitlin. When Caitlin wants to make it a point that she's going after a player, she's going after a team. All of a sudden now, like, it doesn't really matter because look, Caitlin is going to be Caitlin. And this is the first time where I feel like, I think Caitlin, and she's just a different Caitlin. Like, this is Caitlin back to her best. This last 5 minutes was crazy. The refs suck. She hits Caitlin Clark, no foul. And then Caitlin Clark takes 2 forearms from Greer, and they call a foul on Caitlin Clark. It gets way worse. Stay with me. Caitlin Clark grabs the ball, hits a logo, snorts huge shot when they needed it the most. But then, guess what happens? Brittany Greer leads with her shoulder, takes out Caitlin Clark. No foul. You can't make this crap up. Caitlin Clark's dealt with this her whole career. Look at this crap, but guess what? Sophie Cunningham comes through and steps up. You're going to mess with Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm going to do? She hit 11 consecutive points, 3 3-pointers in a row, and they got a wave bye to the fans and that dumb team. And maybe, honestly, I think the Liberty game, or maybe even the Mystics game, was the turning point. It felt like one of those moments where Caitlin finally reminded herself exactly who she is. She hit that game winner. She looked confident again, and you could just see that swagger starting to come back. That confidence is obviously returning. And when Caitlin gets that confidence rolling, she's a completely different player. Now look, if Caitlin ends up crossing the Diana Taurasi line, then it is what it is. For those who don't know, people jokingly call it the Taurasi line because Diana Taurasi spent years picking up technical fouls. It became such a regular thing that fans and media would joke about how many technicals Diana Taurasi would finish with in a season. There were years when it almost felt inevitable that she'd end up serving a suspension because of accumulated texts. So, if Caitlin eventually gets there, she's hardly the first emotional superstar to deal with that situation. In fact, I was thinking about Angel. Didn't Angel get close to that line recently? Maybe it was last year. Maybe it was the year before. I remember discussions about Angel potentially missing a game and how teams sometimes have to manage situations like that carefully. I think there was even talk around a fever matchup and whether another technical foul could affect availability. That's the strange thing about technical fouls. They start as isolated incidents, but eventually they add up. One emotional moment here, one frustration there, one argument with an official somewhere else, and suddenly you're looking at suspension territory. And that's why I think Caitlin is probably going to spend a lot of this season hovering around that line. We've seen it before. Caitlin plays with emotion. That's part of what makes her great. She cares about every possession, every call, every mistake, every missed opportunity. Sometimes that passion works in her favor, and sometimes it gets her into trouble. If we're being honest, if Caitlin ever gets suspended because of technical fouls, it won't exactly shock anybody. She plays hard, she talks, she competes, and she wears every emotion on her sleeve. That's just who she is as a player. But this is where she has to be careful. Getting fired up is one thing. Picking up unnecessary technical fouls for taunting is something else entirely. That's where the risk starts becoming avoidable. You don't want to lose games because of emotions when those situations can be controlled. The good news is that Caitlin usually understands where the line is. Sometimes she pushes it. Absolutely. Sometimes she challenges it, but most of the time she knows exactly what she's doing. That's why moments like the celebration involving Kayla McBride become talking points. Fans notice them, officials notice them, and suddenly everyone starts paying closer attention. And once referees start paying closer attention, every emotional reaction gets magnified, every gesture gets noticed, every conversation gets scrutinized. That's just the reality for star players. The funny thing is, Caitlin isn't the only one dealing with this. Angel has dealt with technical fouls. Plenty of emotional players deal with technical fouls. Even Paige picked one up before it was eventually rescinded. This league is competitive. Players care. Emotions run high. Technical fouls are naturally going to happen. Still, 8 technical fouls across a season is not hard to reach when you're playing with that level of intensity. In some ways, it's easier now than it used to be. That's why the Diana Taurasi line remains such a funny comparison whenever conversations like this come up. At the end of the day, though, the biggest takeaway isn't the technical fouls. The biggest takeaway is that Caitlin looks like she's getting her mojo back. That's what stands out most. The confidence is returning. The attitude is returning. The edge is returning. And honestly, that's probably what opponents should be paying attention to, because a confident Caitlin is a dangerous Caitlin. She's laughing about the technicals now, and that's fine. But moving forward, she's got to be smart. She's got to be careful. Play with emotion, play with confidence, play with fire if you want, but don't give away free technical fouls. Tell me what you think. Don't forget like and subscribe.